when paired up with a man who can breach the very soul of the king, and another who stands to bear and wield his own abilities. Tell me, Hakari Kinji, what can you really do? What's up, guys? Welcome to here. We're going to do a nice little quick breakdown and discussion on what Hakari's role is going to be. Like, just in general in the battle against Sukuna, if he even gets to play a role, if Yuji and Yuta's plan fails. Big if on that one, because I'm genuinely wondering if it will, considering how juicy, nice, and scrumdiddlyumptious it's going. But also, this is Jujutsu Kaisen, when if something is looking very good, juicy, and scrumdiddlyumptious, especially in regards to Sukuna, don't trust it all too much. So I do think Hakari Kinji still has a role to play, but the question is, what will that role be in the grand scheme of things? How big should it be, and more? So let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into it. Editing me, ready, 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me, and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, Ryomen Sukuna, quite the powerful individual, wouldn't you say? Overall, we know that even at this point, his power is nigh on unrivaled. He's only being restrained, due not to any weakness of his own, but rather the weakness is forced upon him by other characters, whether it be brain damage or expenditures by Satoru Gojo, whether it be the nature of a man who can damage his very soul, whether it be the boy who could wield endless abilities, such as the shattering of space or the blades of the king himself. Ryomen Sukuna is still quite mighty. And of course, with his might, his overwhelming power, and his legendary growth, the question becomes, well, what are certain characters' roles? Of course, we do have two characters with very particular roles right now. We have Yuji Itadori, the divider, the great liberator, if you will. He who can mink, and then mink, and then mink, until Megumi Fushiguro rises up from his slumber and Ryomen Sukuna falls back into the depths. And of course, we have Mr. Okotsu, the madman himself, with the ability to wield techniques to wear down the king of curses, whether they be spatial manipulation, whether they be Drew Shikigami technique, whether they even be the mystical magical levels and powers such as curse speech. Sad how he can use it way better than Inumaki ever could, but it'd be like that when it be like that, especially when it be like that. All of this is laid bare before us all, and we even see the young man whip out Cleave at the very end of chapter 250. So clearly Yuta Okotsu has a role to play. It's the role to wear him down, to beat him down, to tear him apart, to make the job of Yuji Itadori, the soul splitter, if you will, all that easier. Same thing with the case of Rika Orimoto, the queen of curses, who while even unmanifested is managing to slam, knock around, and do damage to the king of curses, simply wearing into his reserves, tearing at him bit by bit, piece by piece. So the man who currently stands about equal in overall cursed energy amounts to Yuta Okotsu by his own admission, now would no longer have that level of power. He would fall even further to the point where he can no longer maintain himself, and thusly shall be reduced to nothing. So the real question is, with all of this at hand, what in the world is this guy meant to do? Like, genuinely. Like, what is bro here for? Like, remember, at least as far as we know from this point, Hakari Kinji is, a punch and kick merchant. And, like, don't get me wrong, we have the famous punch and kick merchant right here being used as a football. So, like, it's not the first time a punch and kick merchant has proven useful. But remember why Itadori Yuji, the punch and kick merchant, has proven useful. It's because of his ability to directly target the soul. Something that allows him, and only him, as Sukuna himself says, they're applying the same principle that allowed the boy's attacks to have an effect on the patch face curse. They're targeting the boundary between my soul and Megumi Fushiguro's soul, and never to awaken Fushiguro's soul, which I slumbered in the bath, and disrupt the attunement of our physical forms. Yuji Itadori, despite seemingly enough, unless you're just like me and a couple others, huffing that love manipulation coping, and assuming that Yuji Itadori's got that on him and keeps that on him at all times, then currently Yuji Itadori is still a punch and kick merchant, but at least his punches and kicks do something. Remember, every single hit, whether it be a punch, a kick, a drop kick, a tickle for all we know, it's slowly but surely chipping away at Ryoma Sukuna, making his hold all the weaker, making him easier to fight, tearing apart his very soul and fundamental structure, so that Megumi Fushiguro can be ripped from him, and Ryoma Sukuna can be reduced down, reduced to nothing but cursed objects that will fade away in the heavenly light accessed by Yuta Okkotsu. But, of course, once again, we have this guy, who, don't get me wrong, is still powerful, like, clearly, but what can he do that our other two can't do better? Like, oh no, we need someone who can punch real, oh, we have Yuji. Oh, we need someone who can use RCT to survive. Oh, never mind. We do in fact have two RCT users right here in Yuta and Yuji. Oh, we need someone who can bring out a new technique. Oh, well, we do have the guy here who has, like, the entire wiki in his back pocket, apparently. He's pulling out techniques that we didn't even know bro had, and a lot of us assumed he couldn't even pull out, like precognition. And he's using things like sky manipulation, and things like cleave itself, and who knows, he may whip out a hollow purple next chapter, for all we know. So, well, we need someone to... oh, well, we don't really need someone to tank right now, because, well, clearly our characters are able to tank Sukuna for the most part, and whenever they can't tank Sukuna, as, you know, a singular cleave could come in and cook them, we do have people who can back it up and make sure that the king is unable to cleanly slash into the flesh of his targets. So, like, what does Hakari Kinji really provide in the grand scheme of things? Like, what? Other than another warm body. What can he do that nobody else can do up to this point? And what does his general narrative weight allow that other characters such as Yuji Itadori, such as Yuta Okkotsu, such as the Queen of Curses Rika Orimoto, or any others, what does Hakari's specific placement and overall narrative weight allow that maybe Yuji doesn't? Maybe Yuta doesn't. What does he allow? What does he facilitate? What makes Hakari Kinji unique? Sure ain't his punches. Sure ain't his kicks. But, you know, it does make him unique. His level of RCT. Now, a big thing that I've noticed on a lot of my recent videos, in general community discussion, and overall, a lot of people are very, very worried, right? Because 250 has a lot of us feeling real good, right? Sukuna is clearly taking damage, he's running low on cursed energy, his attacks are getting less and less effective, Rika isn't even fully manifested, it seems like Yuji Itadori may be hiding even more to come, Yuta Okkotsu is still pulling out technique after technique after technique, and possibly still has an even deeper bag. Remember, the amount of katanas in this domain are infinite, like, bro didn't just keep yanking them out further and further and further and further, meaning he could go on forever and ever and ever and ever. And if we go with the idea that this domain is basically unlimited, bro doesn't even have to turn it off anytime soon. And as long as they keep wearing down Sukuna's control and Yuji Itadori keeps hitting him, he'll never get domain back, he'll never get anything back. So right now, everything seems too good, to the point where a lot of Sukuna fans, and heck, myself as a Sukuna fan, are kind of worried that he's going to end up like Yuki Tsukumo. He's going to end up like Big Jaku. He's going to end up like, heck, even Gojo Satoru, where we get to see a lot. Amazing things. We've seen Dismantle, we've seen Malevolent Shrine, we've seen Domain Amplification, we've seen different levels of combat with 4 arms and 2 legs and 3 dragons. Not 3. Whoa, 3? 3? But, like, we've seen a whole bunch, but it still feels like we've kind of just scratched the surface of everything that Sukuna has to offer. A big thing that happens post-Gojo versus Sukuna fight is that, well, it's admitted by Gojo that, yeah, Sukuna didn't really get to pull out every last trick in the bag because it was all useless against Infinity. Like, there's no point in going Fuga and opening up the fire arrow because the fire arrow would just bounce off. Except for that one scenario where it probably couldn't have. Maybe it would have done something if you think Sukuna can switch boxes while Malevolent Shrine is active. If you think so, then he could have pulled a fire arrow right then and there and just cooked Gojo alive. But outside of that, he couldn't really pull anything out, because every other time Gojo would have Infinity active, or would come back way too quickly for him to switch out and do anything. He didn't really get to pull out any of the Shikigami to any extreme degrees or anything like that. He didn't really get to do all too much in the battle against Gojo, because Gojo had something that neutralized a lot of his abilities. They wouldn't be effective in the first place. And with that being the case, we've seen so little despite being hinted at so much. We still don't know the nature of his other cursed tool and its abilities. We know of Kamutoke and its lightning abilities, but we just don't know enough about the spear or anything about that. We really don't know even the name of his cursed technique at this point. That's still an entire enigma that haunts us to this very day. We don't know the limits of the black box. We've never seen him use the black box ever since Shibuya, which is now well over, well, not well over, well, actually not, pretty much well over 100 chapters ago in the context of the manga, like darn near 3 or 4 years ago. Like, it's legit a little bit tragic, new panic, and possibly automatic that if Sukuna falls here, then we don't get to see any of that. He'd fall very, very incomplete. No maximum, no elaboration, not even a technique name, nothing. And that'd be a bit whack. But we run into a counter issue where, well, we kind of, unless we want to sacrifice Yuta Kotsu, which I don't think people want to do, myself included. Heck, I don't even want to sacrifice Yuta Kotsu. Part of me does, because I like the idea of Yuji Chidori being the last man standing in a final one-on-one decisive drag-out, knockout slugfest between him and Sukuna while both are on zero curse energy. In spite of that imagery, I kind of don't want Yuta Kotsu to get sacked, but I still agree. I want Sukuna to pull everything out, right? I want to see bro whip out the black box. I want to see him whip out new techniques. I want to see him go crazy, go stupid. Like, I want to see bro tweak a little bit. But I feel like he's not going to be legally allowed to tweak for numerous reasons. One, because, you know, the whole hollow wicker basket thing and, you know, the whole, like, domain situation he's in right now where he's, like, 5 seconds away from being vaporized. Number 2, you know, getting beat up by Yuji Tadori, who's consistently weakening the control of the soul. But also because, like, as hype as it is that he's fighting the 2 main characters plus their queen, he's fighting the 2 main characters plus their queen. The likelihood that Sukuna is actually going to, it's not 0, don't get me wrong. It's not, like, in the negatives. But at the same time, it's not very likely that he's going to be able to go all out or off or do anything crazy to Yuji Tadori or Yuta Okotsu because they're Yuji Tadori and Yuta Okotsu, the 2 main characters of Jujutsu Kaisen, and also kind of our last hope. So, what is Hakari's role in all this? Well, it's kind of the same role he's played this entire time. Hakari Kinji isn't really notable for what he himself does outside of the RCT, which is noted to be even greater than Ryomen Sukuna's and Gojo Satoru's, but it's notable because it allows his opponents to while out on him. It allows his opponents to do whatever they want. It allows his opponents, and by proxy Gege, to show off the opponent's kits through their battles with Hakari Kinji. It does allow that. And that is what I think Hakari's grand role in all this will end up being. Of course, I would not be shocked if he ends up beating Orume. As much as I like Orume as a concept, as crazy as they are as a character, as much as I would love to see them just shatter Yuta's domain, drop it, and go absolutely crazy, I didn't expect Kenjaku to get one-tapped. And clearly Orume hasn't been one-tapped either, but I still think this is Hakari's fight, especially in the long run. And I do think, naturally, he's going to have a role to play against Sukuna. And I think his abilities, or ironically enough, lack thereof, allow for the perfect facilitation of what these two cannot allow. Sure, as I mentioned before, these two have RCT. Like they are not lacking in the RCT department. We literally see both of them regenerate relatively quickly. Of course, they say if Sukuna was fully healed, then they'd be wiped out in an instant, but still, they aren't wiped out in an instant because Sukuna isn't fully healed. And thusly, they have the flexibility and ability to use RCT, but like, that runs down their reserves. They're still in danger. There's still problems that could come with that. All that and more. But Hakari Kinji, unlimited, unrivaled, insane amounts of energy, to the point where the RCT is automatic. He's doing good. He's doing fantastic, doing great, in fact. And after the cold gets brought upon him, that's going to leave him with something to do. And that something to do is likely just a face tank. Notably, I'm in the camp that this still may not work. With Ryomen Sukuna still, and I mean still, after all he's been through, this madman, having the overall amount of cursed energy the same as Yuta Okotsu's, but remember, an efficiency that pairs on the levels only exceeded by the 6 eyes, bro still has a lot of gas in his tank. Like, don't just think because bro's going through it just a little bit that he's out of the count or he's done or something like that. He's not. He's still cooking. Meaning that it's entirely likely and fully possible that this could fail for one reason or another, whether it be the domain being shattered, whether it be you running out of time, whether it be some unknown stipulation. Something can happen where our main characters are going to have to recharge. They're going to have to take a break. They're going to have to lock in, recontextualize, replan, all that. And, oh no, that would leave Ryoma and Sukuna, allow him to do anything crazy, stupid, But if he has an immortal punching bag, we can get the best of both worlds. We can keep our two main characters alive. We can keep it so that Ryoma and Sukuna doesn't immediately execute them. We can have it so that Sukuna gets to show out his full kit. He can open up the black box. He can go crazy and insane with the next levels of whatever he pulls out. He can pull out lightning, fire, gas, water, whatever he wants. But all of it would be useless against Hakari Kinji, because it's Hakari Kinji. Of course, the main issue is that Hakari is most likely still a victim. Like, you could most likely remove his dome piece, but hey, that's just our assumption. Gege could make it so that Sukuna sends out a world slash, it takes Hakari's dome piece clean off. As it flips backwards, Hakari grabs his head and slams it back on like he's Wolverine or something, and then immediately keeps on fighting. We can do it. We can get to that level. We can have fun. And luckily enough, as long as this domain stays down, as long as this big fella right here can't open domain, ain't no reason why it can't happen. Ain't no reason why Hakari Kinji can't cook a little bit. Because sure, it'd be base Hakari versus Sukuna in domain, but hey, a few revivals, a few little refreshments, a little bit of that renewal, some high probability jackpots, some cooking, a bind and vow here and there, and Hakari Kinji can turn 4 minutes 11 seconds to 8 minutes and 22 seconds, and then 12 minutes and 33 seconds, and then 16 minutes and 44 seconds, all the way up, and just go and go and go and go and go. And I think these two are perfect for each other to show whatever else they may still have hiding. Because Ryoma and Sukuna essentially would get an infinite punching bag. A punching bag that will never be out-punched or be too punched out. Like Rika is here with getting torn apart and needing time to regenerate. And Hakari Kinji still may have some mixed things up his sleeve. May have things and new developments that he wouldn't be able to show against Oda Ume. And may still have a whole lot more to offer. So if I have to give Hakari Kinji a role, it's to be the greatest punching bag ever put to page. As the man who is immortal dances about and fights back against the king of curses who seeks to take it all away. However, that's what I think. Please what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave the Immortal King in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do happen to have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also, I become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks will include the live reaction to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, along with ad-free variations of all my videos. And now you can become a $25 patron or a $25 member to order any video you would ever want from your boy. But now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays, Red Wolf 4765, Greyhound, and Atkins Void. I'd like to give another big thank you to our $5 patrons, Victor, Sean, RNG Master, Midnight Gemlord, Metal Solid Crisis, Kevin, Igneal, and Demix LND. Another scrumptious thank you to our $7 members, Autumn Mornings Lazo and Sick Addiction. And I'd like to give another hefty thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha, Joaquin, Idemokami, and China Doll 09. And I'd like to give another gargantuan thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. And I'd like to give a thank you, an amazing thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder. And another thank you to our next $25 patron, EHack1. And a final thank you to our final $25 patron, Steeron.